I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Theater Podcast. This episode is actually coming to you from the vault. This is a republish of episode 54 with Alex Brightman, which was part of a Beetlejuice takeover that I did back in 2019, fall of 2019. So this guy, since we talked about Beetlejuice, he came back on Broadway and did Beetlejuice again, because post-pandemic. Then The Shark is Broken, they had Spam-A-Lot, and then in honor of Schmigadoon winning Best Musical at the Tonys last week, I figured, why not drop this episode with Alex again? Originally, it was aired as 2 parts, and I strung them together this time, and you just have one glorious long episode now to listen to. So congratulations to Schmigadoon for winning Best Musical this past season, and I'm not going to hold up anymore. Let's dive right into the episode. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Theater Podcast, intimate personal conversations with theater's biggest names. This episode is with Alex Brightman, who holds the role of Beetlejuice in, well, you guessed it, Beetlejuice. This is part of the September takeover that Beetlejuice has done, so if you haven't gone back and listened to any of the previous episodes that have been released in September, please do so, because they're all from Beetlejuice. They're all actors from Beetlejuice. So they've got some pretty good ones here. Actually, not all actors. We had Alex Timbers, too, who, of course, is the director. So got a little bit of the creative side in there as well. To reflect on this episode, I expected it to be funny. I mean, it is funny. Alex is funny. But I expected him to come in and be just telling jokes the whole time, because that's sort of like my idea of him in my head. I hadn't met him personally before this interview. And he surprised me by being incredibly serious, being very real, very genuine, and just telling it like it is. And he told me off mic before we started, he said, I'm an open book, wherever it goes, it goes. And I said, that's perfect. Obviously, those who have listened to me for a long time, know I love to get deep. But I expected it to be funny. And it wasn't a laugh out loud the whole time kind of thing. It was very real, very deep. We get into some really personal stuff with him. And, Alex, if you're listening, thanks for going there. It was a really great interview. And he made it so easy to connect with him. And I think that's partially why he's been so successful, is that people just like working with him. So we had such a great long talk that this is going to be a 2-parter. This, of course, is going to be part 1. So before we get into the first half of this episode here, please visit us on ttp.fm, ttp.fm/Patreon to show your support. And for those of you who are at the $5 tier or higher, you get to submit your questions. And a few of them got asked in the interview with Alex here. So please enjoy part 1 of Alex Brightman. My 2-time Tony-nominated guest today has made his Broadway debut in Wicked in 2008 as Bach, and since then has gone on to roles in Assassins, Matilda the Musical, Big Fish, and School of Rock, where he originated the role of Dewey Finn, earning him his first Tony nomination. His TV film credits include Royal Pains, The Good Fight, and Documentary Now, among many others, and he now holds the title role in Beetlejuice on Broadway, which brought him his second Tony nomination. Alex Brightman, welcome to the Theater Podcast.
Thank you so much. Anytime someone runs through your resume in sorts, it sort of sounds like you died. It always sounds like the next thing you're going to hear after that is like, and, found dead on the side of the highway is Alex Brightman.
Can you imagine if all obituaries were read with as much enthusiasm as...
You're hitting on kind of something that's kind of great, to be honest. I think why wouldn't someone want to go out literally with a bang?
My 2-time Tony.
Yeah, right? That's not fun.
Has made his Broadway debut.
See? Yeah. By the way, can I actually make an addendum?
Sure.
My Broadway debut was not in Wicked.
Oh, your Broadway contract debut.
My Broadway, right. Yes, my Broadway debut was Glory Days.
Yes.
Which we made history, and that should not go without saying, because the history-making, record-breaking one night only, Glory Days.
That was one night of previews, right?
No.
It was one night of
opening night
Okay,
was
okay.
our first performance, like really record performance was our last night on the stage. The next day, got a phone call, pack your things.
And you never got on stage.
I bowed at opening night, and I think looking back, it's because they knew we were closing, so they were like, "Give them a thrill." Because that's truly the crash course of the business in all one night.
What happened with that?
I don't know the full story. I have speculation. I've had certain things, confirmed, and some things stay nebulous and a mystery. But I think it's just they didn't have the advance sale that they really thought they were going to. They had a really hit thing out of town in DC.
Yeah.
And it was this new 23-year-old writers. And it was, it was the time for that. It was trusting new writers over having the staid writers bring in new stuff. It had every right to work, except I just think maybe it wasn't a Broadway show. I think it was an off-Broadway show, or it was this amazing smash regional show. And I just think it wasn't big enough. It didn't have the audience, and the reviews were not helpful.
Right.
So I think all that combined, I think the producers just got a little scared and they pulled it.
Wow.
And again, I can't begin to know that side of things. So that's just what I know. But it certainly made for a hell of a story.
Well, being your, I guess if you had got on stage, your official Broadway debut, but
totally.
You got there and you're like, all right, this is it. I'm in New York. I'm making my debut, and then
I thought I was going to have my first Broadway show by 30, so I got it at 18, and I bought. This is so embarrassing. I bought the entire collection of R.L. Stein's Goosebumps on eBay. And I lined my dressing room with it. And this can be confirmed by Jeremy Woodard, Broadway's Jeremy Woodard, that we were like, we're here, we're not going anywhere. And then the embarrassment of having to lug that away the next day.
You were going to read the whole thing.
I was like, I'm going to make my way through these again. It reminds me of my childhood that I just left. And we had decorated our dressing room, which is, I would say that's my advice to anybody who's going on Broadway in a new show or at any show. Wait to decorate your dressing room to make sure you're a hit first. Because otherwise you're just going to have a little more work on the tail end.
Or at least don't bring in heavy books.
That's right.
Jeez. Okay. So back it up to very beginning. And you grew up in Saratoga, California, yeah?
I did. Very good. You're one of the few people that get that right in the first shot. Most people say San Jose, because I say San Jose because it's more of a reference point. But yes, Saratoga, California. That's where I'm from.
And how long were you there? What was your childhood?
My childhood was pretty good. I mean, I had I feel bad for people growing up these days because social media is such a thing. And I grew up right when it was just starting to become a thing. There wasn't YouTube when I was a kid. I don't think there was Twitter, and Facebook just came into play when I was in high school. So I thankfully, I think, missed out on all of that type of mishigas, to use a Yiddish term, that I had a pretty easy, you have the same kind of trials and tribulations that any kid would have growing up that wants to do musical theater. That people don't think it's a career, or everyone calls you gay, or everyone, it's all that. I get that, and I sympathize with that completely because I did get it, but no more than a regular person would have gotten it. I certainly, again, feel for the people that are getting it left and right these days.
Still getting it.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's crazy. And I try to, every step of the way, make sure people know that if your passion is this thing, keep doing it, because those people may never change, but the world will see them as the bad people eventually. So I like to think that that's sort of what happened with me, is that I just sort of said, I like baseball and I like musicals. I'm going to do both of them, even though at some point I'm going to have to make a choice, because you can't do both. I guess damn Yankees.
Yeah.
You can do both, but only one show for the rest of my life.
Well, what if you did I was going to say you could make a musical about baseball, which was done, but what if you make a baseball derivative where you have to involve musical theater?
Or what if I sort of did a third option, which was the High School Musical aspect of a kid that wants to do musical theater but play baseball, so his only option is to always do damn Yankees. He makes a deal with another devil, and he's like, you can do it, but it's going to be the same show forever.
That is so Inception right now.
It's so meta, yeah.
but
honestly, growing up was great because I got to travel to New York because I have grandparents that lived in New Jersey. and they would take me to a Broadway show. And I saw my first Broadway show, my second Broadway show, my third Broadway show. And by that time, I didn't even know what it was that I was falling in love with, but I knew that something felt really right when I was inside of a theater. And it's hard to explain. It's like the same feeling when you have like a grilled cheese with tomato for the first time. You're like, this is a thing? This is incredible. Wait a minute, I could do this. I could choose to have this whenever I want. That was the feeling. I was like, this is real.
No, I got to go home and make a grilled cheese with tomato.
There's nothing better, especially in New York City. There's nothing better than a diner version of that.
Well, what was the first musical you saw?
Cats.
Well, that's bringing it back.
With my homie, Andrew Lloyd Webber.
That's right, your homie.
That's right.
Bringing it back to School of Rock.
That's right.
And so they have
at the Winter Garden.
How old? Yes, at the Winter Garden. So it's in your contract to only do shows pretty much at the Winter Garden these days.
I'm telling you right now, that would be the best handcuff situation in the world. I love, capital L, love that theater. Truly.
Well, okay, so how old were you when you saw Cats?
I want to say I was turning 8. 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, so you were a little guy.
Yep.
And then did you love Cats?
Didn't love it.
This is what I want to do. I want to be a singing cat.
Didn't love it. Still don't. But what I told Andrew Lloyd Webber, I said, seeing your show was the first time I saw a show. And that changed my life. So truly, I mean, for better or worse, whether I liked it or not, Cats did change my life fundamentally because it changed the course of what I wanted to do. Because for the years prior to that, the 3 conscious years prior to that, I was like baseball or bust. Or I wanted to be, whatever, an alien, whatever kids want to be. And then I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be on that side of the stage, not sitting here. And so, literally for better or worse, I got a chance to see the thing that I wanted to do years later.
So 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then you went to an all-male Jesuit high school in San Jose.
All-male Jesuit sports high school. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm processing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes.
Check that. Okay,
all of those
okay.
things
Yes.
in one place. We'll say this, though. That was one of the better times of my life because the all-boys aspect of it was nice because you weren't there to impress anybody. For me, it was like I was so into the idea of girls and I wanted to do cool. I wanted to be a rock star because of girls. And that was when you're growing up, that's what it is. For me, it was. And it was nice to actually have an education that you gave a shit about. It was because I got to just wear sweatpants and a t-shirt and look like a schlub and learn about these things that I liked learning about, which was I was really good at physics, it turned out. It was. I sucked at biology and chemistry. I was an ace at physics. And I loved it. I really did. I don't love it now. I couldn't regurgitate anything to you now. But I did the most hard-nosed studying and made some really, really good friends, which I didn't do in college. I made friends in New York, but not in college.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I think that it was a whole different story, but the hatred of what was going on in my college experience that years that I was there really bonded a few of us. And now we're desperately good friends because of it. But high school was a breeze. And I got to play some sports, not well, because I was playing upper levels with people that really wanted to play sports. And I really wanted to play sports and do musicals.
So you couldn't focus on both.
No, and I ended up focusing pretty significantly on theater. And I loved doing it. I did theater there.
So I read that you're Jewish, yeah? You still consider yourself Jewish, but you went to a Jesuit high school, which is a Catholic derivative, yeah?
Yeah, strictly a power move. It was strictly a strategic. If the idea was if you went to this school and you did fairly well, you could sort of write your ticket to a college because it's a really good school to have on your docket. Ended up being true, I guess. It got me. I mean, I ended up not having the exact right grades to get into NYU, but I think with my audition, it sort of pushed me into it. But yeah, I don't really, religion-wise, I'm not really anything here or there. I like to think I'm stealing a term from one of my favorite comedians and podcasters, Pete Holmes, when I say I'm probably a spiritual leaning atheist.
Yeah.
I think something's going on, but I don't know if it's a thing. I don't know if it's this guy, right?
I call spirituality being connected, and it's whatever I think is part of the energy that draws people into theater, and especially into performing. Because if you can stand on stage, and you probably know this as well as anybody else, if you could ride the wave, you make them laugh, you make them cry, you're making thousands of people at once feel the same way and bond unconsciously. That is my spirituality.
I won't fight you on that one bit. I think that's a great way to put it. I think that's probably right. That's probably the most I feel, quote unquote spiritual, is that it does feel churchy, because it has all the aspects of a church. A lot of people facing one direction, some people facing the other direction, proselytizing about a certain thing, reading from someone else's work, trying to make the others believe that it's true.
I never put it quite in that perspective, but I think you're exactly right.
I mean, really, that's what they're doing. They're reading a script.
It's camaraderie. Yeah.
Or they're improvising.
Right.
To be honest. I mean, that's like the other thing.
Well, speaking of improvising, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
You are Beetlejuice, of course, and the opening number is you're singing to the audience, acknowleding them.
Yeah, smashing the fourth wall.
Breaking the fourth wall right off the bat.
Yeah.
And this is a song about death.
Mm-hmm.
Is it different every night because you're actually interacting with the audience?
Yes. It's a different show. Every single show is completely different from the top because I don't get a chance to like have a camera that like scan the front row to sort of like, or like, some magicians get to figure out like, who's the lady in the dress and what's her name. And I can be, oh, your name's Mary. And this is like the curtain opens and there they are. And some of them are engaged. Some of them still are turning off their cell phones. Some of them are sleeping, whatever. But like, it really is like this wacky group of misfit people that at some point or another, hopefully sooner than later, turn into what we call an audience. Because they're all singular people. They all can have their own point of view. But it is weird when you can all of a sudden feel like they've all agreed on something without talking to each other. And that's my job, is to make them agree. My job is to go, I have all of you, trust me, and I will make you laugh. But you have to do me a favor. You have to laugh. You have to be engaged because I get to actually look in your eyes. That's the one benefit I have, is that because I get to actually go to check in and go, what am I not doing that's making you not laugh? And what's great is that every night I get to turn the knobs a certain way so that by the end of the show, hopefully they're on their feet and they had a great time.
Have there been anybody that surprised you or like, do you acknowledge cell phones going off or?
I haven't acknowledged a cell phone going off yet, though I will. I mean, I will happily. I did it in School of Rock. I am not a fan of the idea. I don't believe in silencing your phone. I believe in turning it off. If it's so vital that you have your phone on, then do not go to the theater. If you're waiting on, heart news or you're waiting on an EKG result, then just step away from the theater for 2.5 hours. If it's that important, I want you to take that phone call.
Right.
But if it's somebody calling you to tell you that It Part 2 was not as good as everyone said it was, go fuck yourself. Like, it's crazy that you think you're that entitled that you get to have but I get to have my phone on. It's akin to people leaving their phone on an airplane.
Right.
It's against the rules. Turn it off.
Well, It's just distracting.
That's all I care about, by the way.
Well, airplanes, death.
Right.
But,
To me, by the way, if my jokes get ruined by a cell phone, that is equal to death for me because I would slit my throat for some of the jokes in this show. And I just think that it's completely out of line to break a rule. And it is distracting. I don't think of it as a vanity thing. If you film me and get away with it, good for you. As long as I'm not distracted. I'm trying to put on a show that your friend told you about the night before. But if I'm doing a lesser job because somebody else has a big white cell phone flashing in my face, that is so unfair. And it's like, think of any other job. What if I came to that job and just moved a cell phone in front of your face your entire job? You'd be like, it's not about the phone, it's that it's distracting.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Well, it's affecting everybody. It's affecting your performance, which then everybody else is watching. So they're not getting
and it trickles from the top down.
Yeah.
And I am near the top of this show. It's me and Sophia, who plays Lydia, that it really does. If my attitude changes for the negative, you feel it cast wide. Mm-hmm. You can feel it show wide. It's a different energy. I will say though, last night you said, there been any strange surprises? I always pick on somebody in the show. There's always one person I pick on 3 times in the show. It's the same person. Mm-hmm. It's never the same seat. It's just I kind of pick who I think might be game to play. And this is coming from somebody, by the way, who does not like audience participation. I'm not a person that enjoys seeing a show to then only become part of it. I paid to see the show. I did not. So I sympathize with these people. So I make sure it's worth their while at the end. But there was a guy last night who was the butt of this joke 3 times in a row. And all 3 times he was not having it. And I feel for him and I'm sorry. And it is part of the show. It's not something I can, I can't just not do the joke or move on to another person. But it really was, it tickled me because it was like, there were 1,500 people in that room and he was having a bad time strictly because of something I did. It's very powerful.
I just imagine he just sits there like,
I just like,
if it was a film, he just cut over to you and it's just deadpan.
Yeah.
He's looking at you like, why?
Yep. That's really what it was. And by the time, thankfully, it's few and far between in the show, but by the time it happened, I was like, man, this guy did not enjoy this. and that's not for everybody.
It was, somebody was telling me the same experience about cats too. They're like, I went to go see it and I don't want cats crawling on me or meowing next to me.
It becomes a haunted house for me. I don't think of it as like a show anymore. It feels like an experience that I don't like to be involved if I've paid to watch.
Right. Like if you've gone to watch it.
It's a hard rule for me.
Yeah. Well, it's tough. It's tough because especially in multiple theaters, like every show is different. And like, what was it? Great Comet actually had people like stage out in the audience. And
look, by the way, if it's part of the show and it's like advertised in the show, like for example, Great Comet, like if you know that like it's going to be very in your face and environmental and experiential, then you've bought into that by buying the ticket. Hopefully no one's surprised by that aspect. And we don't do it enough in our show to really call our show environmental. I break the fourth wall. But yeah, that, if I came out and started noogieing somebody in the front row, then they'd have a case to make. Like, I did not come to be harassed.
Yeah. I want to go back to Glory Days, which happened in early 2008.
Yeah.
And obviously that was a one-day wonder. We'll call it that.
Yeah.
And then Wicked happened in November 2008.
The greatest consolation prize ever to somebody who just lost their first Broadway show.
Well, so what were you feeling at that time between Glory Days and Wicked? And did you know Wicked was coming, or was that just like a random sort of audition? You're like, oh, I got it now.
I'll answer both questions because I think they're both interesting. I didn't know enough to be sad about my show closing. I was so still in the whirlwind of like, I'm in a Broadway show and I'm 18, 19 years old that like, I just was like enjoying every moment of it. So when it closed, I was like, wow, that's too bad. But like, holy crap, I just did the thing I thought I was going to do 12 years from now. And then Wicked came like anything else. I had an agent and I got an audition. I found out that they were totally refreshing the principal company. So they had like tons of stringent auditions for like the principal roles. Mm-hmm. And so I went in for Wicked roundabouts like 10 or 11 times within the course of about a month and a half, which is not a lot of material for Bach. It's 4 pages total to do that 11 times, but because they needed that many people to come and vet you to make sure you were going to be this new principal company that wasn't from the road, it wasn't from the West End. I'm not even sure it existed yet actually in the West End. Maybe it did. But they were a totally new company, which was exciting because it was only 4 years into the run of the show. Mm-hmm. So it was like being in Hamilton now. It's still cool. It's still exciting. And P.S., like being in Wicked now is still cool. Like how crazy is that? And so that took a long time. And then I got a phone call from the casting director the night before my agent got the phone call from the casting director because we had such a symbiotic relationship throughout that audition process. He took me through it. He was the one that assured me like, it'll be worth it if it works out. And he was great. Craig Burns, I'll name him right here. He's the greatest. He works at Telsey. He called me the night before and he said, we just finished slotting the show because they were going to do the road. And I said, I didn't know what to say. I was like, I don't know why you're calling me. And he's like, I can't officially tell you anything. And I was like, well, just to let you know, if you told me anything, the only people that I would tell would be my mom and my dad and my brother. And he goes, all right. There's a long pause and he goes, well, then you can tell your mom, dad, and your brother you're going to be playing Bach and Wicked on Broadway. And I like probably leapt through my ceiling. I was so excited and again, didn't think this was going to happen for like another decade.
Right.
So for it to happen twice in the same 6-month period was mind-blowing. And then, the next thought is, wow, I'm in a show that's never going to close. Because then go from a show that closes in one night to going to a show that is never going to close is excellent on so many levels.
And you were in it for 2 years.
2 years, pretty much on the nose. 2 years, yeah.
November 4th to November 1st, 08 to 10.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you were in it for 2 solid years.
Yes.
And you left in 10. And the next Broadway credit was Big Fish in 2013.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. This is a good lesson for people that are listening that are like, aspiring, actors, or I like to say actors, because if you're an aspiring actor and you've acted, you're an actor.
Yes.
This is how it works. You're a reliable cast member for 2 years on a big Broadway show with a big Broadway credit, and then 3 years go by.
Were you just doing survival jobs? What were you doing?
Some, yeah. I was doing some survival jobs. I went out of town with a couple. I had saved enough money to like comfortably do a couple gigs for less money that I really wanted to do. So I went back home to California and I did The Secret Garden, which was such a blast. I ended up doing a show at the Philadelphia Theater Company called Stars of David. I can't ever say it without laughing. Literally, I can't. It's been this long and I can't say it without laughing. Only because it sounds like an ice show. Stars of David. Like just dancing menorahs. But did that with like Brad Oscar and Donna Vivino. It was like an amazing cast. Did a one-man show at the Hub Theater in Fairfax, Virginia called How I Paid for College, written by Mark Aceto, who wrote the novel of the same name. Got to do a lot of cool creative stuff after doing a very commercial show, which was really soul-fulfilling. And during Stars of David, I was bussing back and forth as we had opened to audition for Big Fish, never thinking that was going to be the next thing because it's a Susan Stroman show and I am not a dancer. And I think of her as the dancer's director because of everything she's ever done. And it turned out they needed somebody who could kind of move and cover Bobby Steger, and it worked out. So I did that.
Yeah, so that was another short-lived show.
3 months.
3 months. I was talking with Kirsten Scott about this too.
I love Kirsten Scott.
She said that she took it very personally, and I wonder because there was other things going on in her life, and I will say this because she talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, totally.
But so there was other stuff going on in her life, and so it was kind of like a new family for her that was filling a void at the time. And
I can sympathize with that 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yes. Big Fish was the first time I took an original show anywhere. So you have your stamp on something that means a lot to you. Took it out of town to like really fun, amazing audiences and reviews. Came back to Broadway and it just like, it couldn't get people to see the show if you begged them. And when people saw it, a lot of people loved it, but it was about that getting people in the seats thing. And again, like reviews, they mean something. And so people were a little turned off by the reviews and whatever. But what's interesting is we got our closing notice on a Wednesday, I believe. And then the next day or 3 days later, I broke my ankle in the show. I pulled 2 bones apart in my ankle on my right foot and found out the next day that it was going to take around 8 weeks minimum to fix. And we were closing in 6. So I found out like I was not going to finish my original Broadway company. And then in that time, in those 6 weeks, I found out that my girlfriend at the time didn't want to be in the relationship we were in for 5 years. And she broke up with me and left the house. And I had to find a new apartment with a broken leg. So all of that. And that was around the holidays. So it was very personal to me because I actually, the good news about that actually is that I got to go to the theater, not being a part of the show anymore necessarily, but still being part of the family. And I had them to lean on to, which was brilliant. And we are very good friends because of a lot of that. We really bonded. And I still have a text thread with a lot of the boys and Susan Stroman. And but that really, truly got me through a very strange and painful time in my life. But it helped. And that's one of those things where theater is very therapeutic because you do get to exercise those demons live.
Right. Oh, what was it? I think it was Stephanie J. Block. I heard her talking on Josh Lehman's podcast. And that she's a fan of bringing herself to the stage.
I agree.
It's a good day or a bad day or whatever. I agree. Like because it changes things.
I completely agree. My thing is I totally get don't bring your baggage through the door with you. But my caveat to that is I think bring some baggage through the door with you because that's what makes you human and makes you a 3-dimensional performer. If you are feeling like shit and you pretend not to on stage, nothing will stink more because it's just going to be fake.
Right.
We've all seen people smile through the bad times, and that's the worst time they've ever smiled. So why not be a little? But you can be aggressively happy. You don't have to be the happy. Like that. Beetlejuice is the perfect example, and Dewey Finn also was a great example. It was like I could go on stage and exercise out some of these demons nightly, And no one needed to be the wiser. It all culminates in a similar type of performance, which is just energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when people try to push it down, that's when it's going to sneak up on you at the worst possible moments. A big note, you're not landing a joke right because you're thinking about it. Rather than just accepting that you might be a little sad today, or if my depression kicks up or my anxiety kicks up, let it. Become friends with it. Bill Hader just did this video on that about like just treating it like a friend and being like, I know you're here. I know you're not going anywhere. So let's get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah,
rather than going, get out of here.
I talked to Bill about the exact same thing. That was the first time that he put some of me into perspective.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Because I have OCPD, obsessive compulsive personality disorder.
What's that?
It's not OCD, where you have to like flick on lights and turn it on. OCPD is like you can't see the forest through the trees. I hyper focus on small details sometimes.
Yeah, got it.
And instead of trying to make that go away, like we were talking about his anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's so funny you brought that up. His anxiety, he's like, the best thing he could have done, he was saying, was not push it away, not ignore it, just say, okay, acknowledge it. It's here now.
Yeah, and sort of play with its scruff like a dog. Be like, it's good. I see you.
Yeah. So now taking that knowledge, and that was a while ago, and taking that knowledge and applying it to, a while of therapy now for myself.
Yeah.
It's turned into something like now I can use it to be really productive.
You can use it. You can weaponize your anxiety, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing I do a lot. And I try to teach people that actually you can change, when like a robot in a movie has like red eyes, and then all of a sudden the good guy figures out, he like turns the switch and the robot now works for him.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And the eyes turn colored.
The eyes turn green. All of a sudden he's a good robot fighting the bad guys. That's what I think anxiety can be treated like. Now, again, there are various forms of it. So I am no doctor. I want to make double sure people don't just go, I don't need my pills, because I take pills.
Yeah.
So and I need them. And I think people do need varying degrees of help. But I do think it's helpful to know, especially with actors, because there's a lot of anxiety around actors and a lot of depression that doesn't get talked about. It is a thing you can weaponize if you're careful and you're considerate, and it's a process, but it works when it works.
Do you have anxiety on stage still?
I don't have anxiety on stage about what I'm doing on stage. Like I don't have like what people would classify as like stage fright, which I don't think is a real thing. I think that I have anxiety. I have a very high standard of performance for me and others. So if other people, and I'm including myself, if I find that I'm adjudicating myself and I'm actually giving kind of a B+ performance when I could be giving an A, I feel that. I don't necessarily let it out on stage, but off stage, I'll be like, what am I doing? How can I? And it's not a good feeling when you're not thinking you're nailing it. Although most people, when they see a Stephanie J. Block or a Cynthia Erivo or me, three very similar people, three good examples. But like, somebody who's working at the top of their game as hard as they can, even their B- performance probably looked like an A+, but that doesn't matter to me. I am very aware. I think that there are 1,500 me's in the audience who have seen the show last night and the one that was really good. So if I don't do that one again tonight, I take it out of myself a little bit. I'm more lenient than I've ever been on myself recently because it helps not to take things too seriously. And it really does help my general anxiety to just, okay, that didn't go well, but it will next time. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to push through. I try to push forward through a lot of that. And actually having kids helped me with a lot of it.
Oh, get out.
I've got a 3-year-old and a 4.5-year-old. And reading up, like, the older one hits the younger one, and the younger one throws himself down and has tantrums in it. And, like my wife and I read up on this, and they're like, their brain centers just they haven't developed, they haven't matured enough to be able to have that impulse control. To not just be like, mine, take it. And just to be able, in those moments, instead of being like, no, don't do that, I just calmly, I'm like, okay, acknowledge it, frustrated. Okay, now let's talk about moving past it, or just, not ignoring it for the sake of making it go away, but ignoring it because it's not worth acknowledging to them, right?
Love that.
And so that behavior repeatedly now has made its way into my adult life, my interaction with other adults.
Yep.
Because it's just been, it is practice.
It is.
It's
a muscle.
Practice.
For sure, it's a muscle to flex. Not that it's anything similar, because I do not like when people make this comparison. but I just got a dog. And I know, I know people are like, oh, I understand what it's like to be a parent. I got a dog. And it's like, nope. I'm very aware it's different things. But I did get a dog. And that idea of not yelling no at your dog or not pulling him, and it worked. The other thing works.
Yeah.
But you, as a performer, I think, with kids and a dog, you're not reprimanding, whatever way you're reprimanding, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it so you look like a good owner for others.
Right.
And I find that to be the anxiety. Like we pull our dog to show the other person that has the dog, look, I'm being a good owner.
Yes.
Rather than doing the thing that actually works for the dog. Because who's this other person?
Right.
We're about to walk away from them.
Right.
But this dog's going to have to live with me for the next 6 blocks. And I just pulled him.
Oh.
So that's good to know. But it's helpful because once you do the other thing, it helps. And that's, again, a microcosm for performing and rehearsing with others and working with other actors that might be temperamental. It definitely helps to stretch that muscle to be like, there are better ways to do the things we've been doing things for thousands of years. Yeah. We're just so used to the other thing.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, now you're talking about the age of social media and whatnot.
Yeah. For sure I am. Definitely. Always.
Parent shaming is real.
I'm sure.
Like, it's horrible.
Yes.
My wife has, like, that's where she gets her anxiety from, is like, are people going to think I'm a bad mother? Do I think I'm a bad mother? And I'm like, and I tell her a lot, even though I think it all the time. I look at her and I'm like, I enjoy watching you with the kids, right? Yeah. I see you on stage and I'm like, damn, Alex, he is crushing it tonight. Whatever it is.
Nice thought to have.
You might not think you're good enough. She might not think she's good enough, whoever it is. And it's just that kind of constant reminder. But the difference being that the New York Times doesn't review my wife's motherly performance.
That's right. Right. Well, please. I mean, we're going to get started on that. It's like, I don't ever read reviews, of anything almost. I have no interest because I don't really, respect is the wrong word, but I think it's a strange thing that we've agreed on that one person has one chance to see one show on one night in one state of mind, and then gets to use all of that to make a judgment on a show that has taken 9 years to develop. It just the math of that doesn't work to me. And when I see reviews that are scathing and kind of mean, I go, this is like you're doubling down on something that already doesn't make sense. And I just don't find it to be appealing. But sometimes people read reviews and they go, well, now I don't want to see it. But I do think it's going away. I think that because there are so many people, I mean meaning like a New York Times reviewer.
Right.
I think the smart thing would be, and I think I'm not revolutionary for thinking this, but I think that would be cool if they had a pool of people, 10 people from the New York Times of all shapes and sizes and backgrounds, see the show on the same night or many different nights over the course of a week. And then they all write something and you kind of just synthesize their thoughts. Then I think you're going to get a fairer review. And I also think you're going to hear something that many reviewers don't do, which is tell you that if they liked it or not. That so many reviews I find that I do read, the ones that have like a friend show that's open. I just, by the end of it, I go, this reviewer just spent the whole time going, here's what I understood about the show that you probably didn't. But no point that he went, I liked it or I didn't. You have no feel.
Right.
So you get to kind of go, it was pretentious, I guess. I don't know if he liked it or not, but I know that this guy's pretentious.
How does Rotten Tomatoes work?
Rotten Tomatoes is, I think, one of those like that. I think it's like a bunch of it's a big
So what if we start Rotten Grapes?
Rotten Grapes.
Rotten Grapes, all about, the general consensus.
I'm texting my trademark guy. Yeah. I'm doing it. You don't get to have it.
All right, go for it.
There must be a site like that. I mean, I think there must be something like that, but maybe nothing that's super mainstream just yet.
I wonder if it's a generational thing because Broadway tickets are more expensive.
They are.
The most expensive,
the most.
Obviously. So the people who have the more disposable income are still the people who read the New York Times.
You're totally right. You're right.
Well, let's change that.
Yeah, I think we should.
It is changing, actually.
I think you're right.
Because, what was it? It was Ken Davenport. I was talking with him. Yeah. He was saying that now we're 23, 24, something years after Beauty and the Beast first premiered.
Wow.
So that was Disney Theatrical's first. Now everyone who saw that as a 5, 6, 7-year-old is now like 30 plus.
Totally.
And starting to have disposable income, starting to produce, starting to do new things on Broadway.
I do find that the more I work on stuff in readings and in workshops and, even one-day things, a lot of the producers are, for lack of a better word, more creative. They're more creative rather than just the money.
Mm-hmm.
They are more creative and they're more involved and invested and younger. I just want to only shout out one by name because I just think he's one of the most clever guys out there, which is John Johnson, who works at Joey Parnes. I think they've produced some of the cool, most unsuspecting hits. Gentleman's Guide being the most unsuspecting. Who thought this was going to be a good thing to bring to Broadway? They did, and it worked and won the Tony. That's insane. I mean, in any other generation of producer, they'd be like, where does this make money?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we market this? And they went, that's not how they think. There are more producers now ever going, not will this work, but how can we make this work? And I think that's brilliant. I like that way of thinking rather than what are the numbers it might bring in versus the smarter, which is like, how do we bring these numbers in?
Mm-hmm.
How can we be creative? And I think it takes that generational thing because I think that there are people, no offense, that don't know how to use a computer.
Oh, totally.
Or don't know how to use Twitter or whatever. And that's important now.
Yeah. Well, you have to be able to read the pulse.
You have to.
And
by the way, that's coming from somebody who really likes social media with a lowercase L. I like it. I do think I think it is abused quite often, but I do like it. But I do think more people need to be informed about what is going on. What are the tastes of audiences? And when you do read them right, you get something like Six, the musical that's coming in at the perfect moment.
Yeah.
And I think that musical is going to crush.
Oh, yeah. Everything I read
not just
about.
Because it's good, because it is, but because it's perfect timing for it and it's being perfectly marketed. And I don't know a thing about it until I did. And the minute I saw it, I was like, I have to see this.
I was going to say, not remakes, not adaptations. And so, Beetlejuice is not either. It's a stage adaptation of a musical.
Yeah, but it's also what we're doing at Beetlejuice.
It's still original, though.
Yeah, what we're doing at Beetlejuice that I think a lot of people were hesitant at the top to go see is that they thought, like everybody, like me, when I first heard it was happening before I was cast, I was like, great, here we go. Another carbon copy of a movie on stage with special effects that are going to wow you and a book that's going to be lame and music that's going to not drive the plot forward. Like a lot of adaptations that are happening or have happened or closed,
or
whatever.
Just closed, yeah.
Yeah, but it's gone on for years at this point, and it's to almost nobody's fault except everybody's fault that was involved, and nobody went, hey, what if we did something more fun?
Mm.
What the guys at Beetlejuice decided to do is to tell a story and to rewrite it and to adapt it. And I think a true good adaptation has a point of view that the movie didn't have or the book didn't have. It has a take on what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what our show does incredibly, I think. It really caters to a now audience.
Mm-hmm.
It feels timeless because it is done in an old musical theater way, but our audiences are the proof, is that we have people in our audiences that have never seen a Broadway show before in their life and they're 30, or we have dads coming up at the stage door going, I don't even like theater, more or less musical theater, but I'm obsessed with this musical. And this is not me trying to sell anybody on the show. This is all what's going on, but it's because we did the thing. For really, if you look at it, if you strip everything away from Beetlejuice, we're sort of an original musical. We're telling a different story. We're using the characters, but we aren't really telling the same story the movie did.
Well, it's focused on Lydia, not the main.
Way more, yeah. And the characters are different, and their objectives are different, and the storylines don't really mix the way they do in the movie. And I think for better.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah,
yeah, and it's a fully fledged, fleshed out book musical with heart. And I would never say that if I didn't feel that way about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was talking with Alex Timbers, and he was saying that...
What a hack.
Yeah, can't do anything right. He was saying that the same thing is that he, when someone suggested it to him, the first thing he said was, let me think about it.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to figure out, how can we make this different and not just an adaptation?
Right.
And I think it is brilliant the way that the set...
Yeah,
the set is its own character. It's his word.
For sure.
Because the set is the same set. It's like a one set show, but the set itself changes so dramatically.
Yeah, it breathes, it evolves.
It literally moves up and down stage.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It continues to kind of gain character as we go through, which is kind of fun for us as performers because we get this high budget pretend land. Nothing makes it easier to pretend than having a budget like this too. It's so great that they really leaned into the idea that this is not going to be a show. I guess you could do it in a black box theater, but truly this is one of those shows that needs to be a spectacle too.
No.
It's like not unlike Wicked. I think Wicked has its own like heart to it that you could do. The reading of it would make you feel something for sure. You'd see it in a reading setting with fluorescent lights, whatever, and you'd still feel something. I think the same is with Beetlejuice, but what it makes it so exciting is the spectacle of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's got to feel real while still being in an imaginary land.
It absolutely has to be grounded in some type of reality. It doesn't have to be this reality, but it has to be grounded in a reality with rules.
Because there's real illusions in the show.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's actual illusions, accompanied with amazing puppetry.
Yes. And the thing we figured out in DC, which we had a lot of puppetry, a lot of illusion, a lot of great magic, and a lot of hilarity, a lot of great filthy humor, and it worked. But what we were missing was this beating heart thing. And we figured that out for New York, and that's what I think turned the key in the right direction. It was like, oh, this is what makes it Wicked. This is what makes it, something that is a bit more timeless because it is a story that you can really latch onto. Everybody has lost somebody. Mm-hmm. And that idea of like, what's the right way to mourn is a fundamental question in our show that I think you'd never expect a musical when you just hear that there's going to be a musical of Beetlejuice to go, I bet it has heart. But it does. On every page there's heart, which I think is the good step we all made from DC to New York.
And we even want for Beetlejuice too.
Well, that's good. That was really carefully crafted for this New York production, is that we wanted you to feel for somebody who is lonely and he's invisible, literally and figuratively. Mm-hmm. He's never been seen. And everybody can latch onto that feeling of not feeling like you're being seen. In Beetlejuice's case, it just happens to be literally. But I think that's what makes him so endearing, that you sort of forget until about 3/4 or even 5/8 of the way through that he's the bad guy. Yeah. Which is great. That's a magic trick on its own that I think we've pulled off.
Yeah. And the audiences don't realize what they're watching either.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the success of the show too.
I'm thrilled about it because I like doing it so much that I'm so happy we're not only running, but thriving.
Yeah. Do you get tired? And I know like people have asked you ad nauseum about the voice.
But first of all, let me answer that first question. I'm perpetually tired. I'm never not tired. I've been tired for 10 years. I don't think there has been a time, even on my honeymoon, that I was like, I feel rested. I don't think I'll get it back after all this. But the voice thing is the least tiring thing I do.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a trick that I learned over the course of a year, very carefully done with people in the medical field, with a pathologist and an ENT and a vocal coach who really, truly took good care in making sure this was going to be sustainable. Otherwise, to be frank, I don't know if I would have done it.
How? Okay, so it took you a year.
About a year off and on, yeah.
With the doctors. One day, you will leave the show, and the show will continue, and someone will replace you, and even your understudy.
Yep. What are they going to do?
What are they going to do? How do they do that?
It's a much easier, if you think about it for like 2 seconds, it's like a much easier answer than, because the job requirement is not to do this voice. It's not a job requirement. Beetlejuice is a demon. He is a thing, which means it can be anything. So the voice I'm doing sort of sounds like Michael Keaton, but not really. Not even close, in my opinion. But some people see like the similarities, and I get that. But like 2 of my covers have already done tons of rehearsal in their own voices that doesn't hurt them. I told anybody who wants to like do this role, and I mean anybody, because Beetlejuice is not a him, Beetlejuice is not a her, Beetlejuice is not a they, Beetlejuice is a thing. Beetlejuice can be played. I hope that one day it's played by a trans person, played by, that's my hope. A woman plays the role for a couple of weeks here and there. Like, I just think it would be so cool to watch the thing, because Beetlejuice in itself is not human.
That'd be incredible.
I agree. I think that is what we've shaped it up to be too. There isn't really anything that really says, other than here and there, I'm referenced as a he, but it's because I'm a he. So I think it's a very easy script change to make, and it would be great. But the beauty of it is they can add their own, whatever voice fits them.
Yeah.
as long as it's a character voice.
Like you can't just be like, hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? I'm Beetlejuice. Right. I think that would be a little jarring. But I do think that if they add to it, and both my covers have completely different Beetlejuice voices, and they both work.
You have 2 covers?
2 covers. Well, one's on stage every night. One is a standby. It's the same standby. His name's Will Blum. He's brilliant. And he stood by for me in School of Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's incredible. And his job is to wait upstairs for me to break. Yeah, I mean, literally, that's his job. It's kind of a miraculous, like, Minuteman sort of job that you have to kind of always be ready to go.
Picture him upstairs, like...
I mean, he can't.
Yeah.
That's why I find it to be so stressful. I was like, I don't know if I could be a standby because I'd have to always be warming up.
Yeah.
Like, just in case. And he has gone on. I mean, he went on, like, mid-show. He's done that.
Has it really? What happened?
No, not in Beetlejuice, but we did it in School of Rock. Yeah. I mean, you blow out your voice, or because he stayed on longer than I stayed on, I think. I can't remember. But even the other standbys, you just have to kind of be malleable and ready to go. And I think those guys, the standbys and swings,
agreed,
unsung heroes of a show, because they never know not only when they're going on, but what they're going on for until a minute. They're like handed a costume.
Or if they're going to start the show at the same role that they ended in.
I mean, that's the other, like, it takes me that long to do the show. If I have to, like, step into an emotion, I would completely shatter. I wouldn't know how to do that. Yeah. Because I'm not a sociopath. I don't know how to just throw on an emotion. That doesn't just happen.
Right. So I guess on that note, does the emotion that you have on stage, is that, like, if you're in a show where you were playing like a horribly depressed character, would that carry on through, like, off the stage for the whole time you were in the contract?
It hasn't for me. I can separate. I don't really do the, like, Daniel Day-Lewis-y, like, I'm in character off in the wings. But I think it's only for this one especially, it's because I've spent so much time in the character that turning it on and off is super easy for me. Like, I feel like, the best way to know that you've done right in a character is that if you woken up out of a nap, you could do it.
Right.
You don't have to be like, where am I? What? You can just go into the character, and it's a skin that you're wearing. I haven't found in any of the characters that I've done that it's really, like, affected my life. Beetlejuice is a perfect role at a perfect time for me, because I'm starting to think about things like, I've had people die in my life recently, and there's not a lot of topics that I find to be taboo. So I think it's a great character to play because he doesn't have really many boundaries. So it's fun to explore that side of my brain, and, like, the filthy things that I say to my friends, those are the things I'm saying out loud. And you can only imagine the things I'm keeping in. So that's fun to, like, toy with your own brain.
Yeah.
But no, I think outside of it, I don't, like, come home and, like, roast my wife, like, or, like, make fun of my dog, or, like, treat the Starbucks barista like shit because Beetlejuice is in me somewhere. He's definitely like he's like a tape that I can play whenever I want. Like, I'm a Teddy Ruxpin.
There you go. There's your next marketing viral thing. Beetlejuice go to Starbucks.
Beetlejuice roasts everybody.
Yeah, just walk.
I do like roasting people, like, friendly, but I think you have to love the people you roast.
Beetlejuice on the subway.
That's
Beetlejuice ordering coffee.
See, but that means I have to be in more makeup, and I think just the amount of makeup I'm in now is just enough.
Well, you're all scruffy. Are you supposed to keep the scruff out, or you just not shave, or sometimes you're clean shaven, or what?
I'll be in the. They're gonna shave my face. They'll what do you call it? They'll buzz my face to a certain length tonight, once a week, just to keep it level. But yeah, I keep the scruff for the show. Gets painted on, powdered on, and all that. And I get my nails painted twice a week. Other than that, it's a lot of maintenance because the makeup takes about 30 minutes, and then wigs, and then it's a whole thing. But I've gotten very used to it, and I really like it because the benefit is that once it's done, there I am. And there's nothing easier than looking in the mirror and going, oh, okay, that's who that is.
You feel it.
Big time. It's the ultimate, like, Halloween syndrome. You're like, I am Superman when I have this cape on. I definitely feel like a different thing when I have the suit on and I look in the mirror and I don't look like myself. And I get to complete the look by pulling faces on stage every night. And I don't feel any shame doing it. Like, you're like this, you don't comment on the idea. You just live it for 2.5 hours, and later you deal with it.
Yeah. I imagine you have some people come dressed as Beetlejuice, though, don't you?
A lot.
There's a lot of cosplay.
A lot of cosplay. A word I learned from this show.
Oh, really?
Yep. I'd heard the word. I didn't know what it meant. Tons of people dressing up, tons of people wearing makeup. There's so much of a following for Beetlejuice in general that what we're thrilled about is that the purists have come see the show because they were like coming to hate it, I think, or they were just careful or they were anxious and they love it. And not everybody loves every show. I'm sure there are people that are disagreeing with me as I'm saying this. But for the majority, most people have come up to us and were like, I love both. Like they exist in the same world for me, but they're two different things. And I think you guys did a careful job at making sure that the purists loved it. But that's because, and I think Rob McClure said this, and I agree, we were also worried. We wanted to take good care of it because we liked it. Mm-hmm. That's the thing people don't understand, I think, is that we weren't just like, what role is this? Yeah, okay, I'll do it. We carefully wanted to be in this show and auditioned our asses off to get here. So to ruin it for ourselves is masochistic.
Has anybody ever stayed at the stage door to tell you negative things?
Not on purpose.
I know what you mean.
There are people that are like, oh, you look skinnier on stage, which is not a compliment. Or, here's the compliment that I would love to never get anymore. And I understand why people say it. They're just saying it wrong. When people say, boy, you just have a natural gift for this. It's not true. So much work has gone into this, and everybody has done so much work to do the thing that we're doing that it may look natural and it may look effortless. But for someone to say, boy, God gave you a gift. I said, if musical theater came naturally to somebody, that person is a crazy person. To go up on stage in a costume and pretend to be somebody for 2.5 hours is not natural by definition. So to say when people are like, it just comes so effortlessly to you, I go, it doesn't. That discounts the years and hours of like arduous hard work that we put in on and off stage and at home in my bathroom, making faces in the mirror for this, that I know what you mean, but stop saying it. Just say you make it look effortless. Or just, say good job.
Yeah.
I take that as a compliment. You don't have to be clever with your compliments. Nobody hates to be liked. If you're doing the thing, if you're liking somebody, you've done it. But there are like, every once in a while, there's like a fan that will be like, I saw you messed up a line tonight. Which is like kind of, it doesn't insult me ever. It's just kind of like oddly kind of cool. I was like, wow, you really pay attention. You've been here a lot.
If they've got the script memorized.
And part of me just wants to be like, save your money because like, I want you to make sure that you also live your life. Thank you for coming to see my show 19 times. But the sort of Jewish mother in me also is like, make sure you have enough money to eat as well. But again, thanks for coming.
That's fun. And the generational gap I find very interesting. Like you're saying, the purists are probably of a certain age.
Yeah.
And then all the people who have just now seen the show for the first time have never seen a Broadway musical, or they're finding it on social media, or they like the soundtrack, whatever the case is.
Or this is their very first version of Beetlejuice, and the movie comes second for them, which is also kind of fun.
Right, which is weird to me. Like I grew up, I was the age of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was in 88.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was 88. I was born in 87, so I watched it as a kid, but not when it came out.
Right.
But yeah, it is weird to be like people's first Beetlejuice because it's like it's been around for so long. But it's fascinating. That's why I think we're a good adaptation. I just think it's like people don't need to. Someone's like, I don't even want to watch the movie now. I'm like, all right, well, that's your own decision. But like, it's cool that like this satiated you enough as a property that you feel like this is the one you want to hold on to. That means a lot to me.
Well, you're standing on your own.
Yep, that feels nice.
It's the same concept, different story.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it feels nice either way.
Right. So shifting gears, TV and film.
Yes.
You do some of that. Are you doing any at all now? Like, do you take time away from the show to go audition or film things?
Now that we've been running for like, I think almost 6 months, around that sounds about right. Mm-hmm. We have something called outs, which is like you get in your contract, which is you can, if you book a movie or a TV show or a guest star on Law & Order SVU, you have outs for a certain amount of days that have to be cleared by the producers, but you can do it. Mm-hmm. And that's nice because we have a lot of our days free, so why not continue trying to work? So I've done a little bit of that. I mean, documentary now came in a nice gap, so got to do that, which was, again, like fantasy camp for comedy actors like myself.
Right.
But mainly what I do in my off time is I write, and that's become sort of a second part of my career is that I write plays, books for musicals, and I got really fortunate and I sold a show to NBC 2 years ago. And developed it over the year and then never went to pilot. But it was such a fascinating world that I've now sort of joined that world in a very, very low amateurish way currently. But the benefit is I got to meet all these great people that are involved in that world. And now every fall, right this moment, going out to pitch shows to hopefully get a pilot on the air. And that's been a blast. And my wife and I will write together every once in a while, which is super fun. And my writing partner, Drew Gasparini, and I write musicals together, one of which just did its first workshop with Second Stage and Universal Theatrical, which was an adaptation of a novel and a movie called It's Kind of a Funny Story, which is the other Ned Vizzini property. So like the Be More Chill guy wrote this really, really, really heartfelt, funny, bracing account and semi-autobiographical. He sort of fictionalized the account that he really lived through of him checking himself into a mental institution for 5 days because he was thinking about killing himself. The great thing about this musical is that it's really pertinent. It's like there are a lot of kids that need to hear the message of this musical that we wrote, which is it's all right to be not all right, that you don't have to use that as a criteria to leave. Like life can be overwhelming, but it's not a reason to leave. It's a reason to live. Like overwhelming is part of life. It's part of the life thing. Just because you feel wrong doesn't mean you shouldn't live. So that's just like big part of this musical. And unfortunately, Ned Vizzini ended up committing suicide. That's like the really tragic irony of the thing is that this is a very pro-life. I mean that not in the abortion sense.
Right.
It's very like yay life novel and story, and he ended up not being able to hang and not being able to hack the life thing, and it's devastating. And having lost somebody, a couple people, but really recently, somebody very close to Beetlejuice went the same way, and this is a story, not necessarily the musical we wrote. I'm not saying this is why we need to do this musical, but it's stories like this that need to get told because this is the way people's lives get to change. If someone sees or hears this musical, they get to go, you know what, maybe life is not as bad as I think it is. And if it is as bad as I think it is, there are ways to get help. I think we're just on the cusp of like finding what I'm going to say, for lack of a better word, that are important musicals. I don't say like it's important because it means something. It's important because it's something that not a lot of people talk about. Beetlejuice discusses death a lot. And a lot of people find that subject to be taboo with their kids, with their, where did grandma go? The big question, right? And we don't think about that a lot. But our musical, Beetlejuice, allows you to go, wasn't that fun? But also, now that we experienced it, why don't we talk about it? That's happened with our musical. And now with It's Kind of a Funny Story, as a writer, it's really fulfilling to see people watch it, have an emotional response, and also go, this reminded me of my son when he was going through mental trauma, or this reminded me of me when I was feeling like I wasn't going to be able to make it. So I think just that alone, this workshop was any indicator. I think it's a musical that people are going to want to see. We're really making big strides to make it authentic so it doesn't feel that like depression and anxiety is this whimsical thing that you can get over. Certainly not the point.
It doesn't go away.
And that's a big part of our show. That is a big message of our show. It's a big thing. But I do think it's going to be great. I'm a little biased because I wrote it, but I do think that it is going to be something that people are going to want to see. It's something I'd want to see on stage. And it'll take time. It's not one of those things that needs to rush anywhere. I think good musicals don't need to, just because it's good, don't put it up, let it
work.
Let it go up when it needs to go up.
Yeah. So I was reading that you're writing 2 original musicals. So that's one of them. Do you have another one?
Yeah. I mean, we're writing. So Drew and I wrote a musical. The first thing we ever wrote was called Make Me Bad. And it was this musical about a serial killer that I believe truly, by the way, was ahead of its time. And I'm saying that with no irony. I think that it was just hard to read, hard to listen to, hard to watch. It got produced. And it sold out. It sold out and extended at the Bloomington Playwrights Project. And it is a gritty telling, a totally original story of a girl who, a woman in her 30s who has lived in Montana, hasn't done a lot with her life, and is taking care of her mom. That's sort of her job. And has not done anything for herself. And she works at a diner and she meets a guy that changes her life, except we know as an audience that this guy is a serial killer. And they genuinely fall in love with each other, except the fact that she doesn't know anything about him.
Right.
And you kind of watch those events play out, and it becomes this sort of no winking at this genre at all, a very true thriller horror musical with real danger. The first 5 minutes of it take place in complete darkness, and you're just listening to two guys that have been trapped.
Wow.
So we're trying to get that off the ground somewhere. Like, it's just a thing that was like, it isn't all that commercial. You know, it's like, you don't want to bring your family of four to the murder musical. So there's that. We have we're adapting this children's novel called The Whipping Boy, which is a Newbery Award winner and big, fun, bombastic, wicked, scale type musical about a prince who is a jerk, and you can't. The whole rule of the kingdom is you can't hit him, and so they've hired a kid from the streets that they hit instead.
Oh,
so he's the whipping boy, and it's they take a journey outside of the castle where they kind of both realize outside of castle walls they're just two 10-year-old boys, and their roles have been given onto them, and they sort of learn. And there's bandits and all that kind of thing. But it's a story about who we really are when we're not dressed the same. And
oh man, you got a lot of depth in you.
I have depth in me. Can I tell you really quickly about here's how much depth I have in me. Hey, this is the two plays I wrote aren't the two plays I wrote and the one I'm working on are none of them comedies. One of them, which I'm extremely proud of all of them. I just think that they're all just interesting enough stories, especially now. And it's weird how when you finish something and then the world takes a turn and you're like, wow, this is the play I wrote.
Yeah.
One of them is about 5 guys who come back to their 6th friend's funeral and decide to dig up a time capsule they buried at senior year of high school. They're now in their late 30s. And inside the time capsule is all these fun things, but also a rape accusation. That became a cold case many years ago in their last week of senior year. And they have to suss out what the hell is going on. Why is this in there? What's the deal? And it takes the place over the course of about an hour and a half over the same night. In the quad of their school where they dug it up.
Yeah.
And that's titled We Left It Here. And the other one is called Everything is Fine, which was about the 2nd year anniversary of a mall shooting and the mom, dad, and son of the brother who committed the shooting, and how if they are able to move on and defy their new identity as that kid's family. Can that even be possible? This younger brother is now applying for colleges with the same last name as the kid who is now synonymous with murder.
Right.
And I just found it fascinating, the idea that we always interview the families of the victims. We never sort of see the other side of it. And maybe rightly so, but I thought it was a fascinating idea to just see how you could possibly defy an identity you never asked for, and that you spent your whole life cultivating one identity. And in seconds, now you're not, Alan, you're that guy's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was just a subject that hadn't been discussed. There was a play that just opened, I think, at the Roundabout Underground that sort of discusses a similar topic, which is, I can't remember what it was called. It was called a Clean Place, I think it was called, something like that. But I'm glad these things are happening. And then the third one, again, not a comedy, and also not a musical. It's called Slow Children, and it's about a middle school. It's essentially like a morality, like 12 Angry Men type play, where it's a board of a middle school meeting because a month ago, a kid with Down syndrome walked outside of the school grounds and was involved in a hit and run where he died, and the car sped away, but there was no stop sign or speed bump. So the idea is, do we spend school money on a commemorative, on a memorial speed bump and stop sign to prevent further accidents? Seems simple until you find out everybody's thoughts on the event and who's to blame and what's and it becomes very like God of Carnage, a very simple event, except it's so not simple when you think about it. And
dude, you have so impressed me
thanks.
now.
That's all I wanted to do, is impress you. But I just like, I think when I mention these things, it's not to gloat, it's to like, I really like, and my wife and I are very similar in this respect. We like to encourage people to continue doing things. Like when you're bored, write. When you're bored, read. when you're bored, don't just sit on your couch going, I'm bored, especially now. And like we help a lot of writers, like young writers that want to write. We're the two people that go, do it.
There's so much ability to be distracted that I think it's hard for people to focus now.
It is. I get that. And that's why people like my wife and I think exist in some people's lives, which is like to go to say, hey, how's that thing you're working on? If only to make them feel embarrassed that they hadn't.
Right.
Because then they'll work on it.
Nothing like shaming your friends.
Dude, yeah. I'm so good at accountability with my friends. When I always say, don't tell me you're writing something unless you are. Because if you're not, I will check in on you with it.
Oh, dude, I'm the same. I'm like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I tell you I will help you, I will help you.
Rob McClure is writing a novel, and it's this really cool thing. And I'm not going to, just for the sake of, I don't know how much he wants to put out there what it is. It's just very cool, and it's fantasy, and it's based on something. It's adjacent world of something, and I'm thrilled about it. And when he told me the idea, I was like, you have to do that. I mean, the idea is so good. And throughout the course of like going to DC with Beetlejuice and rehearsing it, he always saw me on breaks writing. And he said, this is his words, he's like, I started doing that. And then I would also come in and be like, where's that thing you're writing? I want to read it. I want to read more.
Right.
And so by virtue of that, he's like knee deep in writing it. And I'm so excited to read the whole thing. I'm so excited for everyone to read the thing. And it couldn't be more Rob McClure. If you know Rob McClure, the property he's dealing with couldn't be more up his alley. I like leaving you in the dust a little bit with that because the mystery, and now I've said it on a podcast, so now Rob has to finish it. Ultimate accountability.
All right. Well, we have to get you to your show tonight. So
I forgot I had a show.
We're going to get you to wrap up here. So there's 3 standard questions I ask everybody to end the episodes. The first one is, what motivates you?
Money. No. No.
Done.
What motivates me is the people that haven't seen the thing I've done yet. So I owe it to them to be as good as the thing they were told about.
Next question then. What advice would you give to your younger self and younger people now starting out down a similar path that is different from don't decorate your dressing room?
Yep. Don't think about Broadway. A lot of people ask, how do I get to Broadway? And that is an unanswerable question. It's different paths. It's different people. My thing, it's the most cliche thing you're going to hear over the course of your career. But I'm telling you this literally, live in the moment. The thing you're doing right now, remember that you're doing it. If you're doing a show that is a weekend long, 2 performances over Saturday and Sunday, don't think about the next show you're going to do. Think about the show you're in. Make eye contact with the performers you're doing it with. Otherwise, when you get to a certain age and you are on Broadway, hopefully, with any luck, you will forget all the things that brought you there. I wish I knew more of that. I started doing it pretty early, but I wish I did it even earlier. So really, truly, like live in the moment. And I don't say that as an aspirational quote or an encouraging quote. Actually live in the moment.
Okay, so then the final question. If you could only see one show for the rest of your life, but you can see it as many times as
The Who's Tommy.
All right.
Hands down, The Who's Tommy. Every time.
Okay, sweet. So we can find you online on Twitter, @abrightmonster. Yep. And you can get more of me, thetheaterpodcast.com. Show your support at thetheaterpodcast.com/Patreon. Get me on Instagram and Twitter @theater_podcast. Listen and subscribe. Tell your friends. Leave a rating. I read the reviews. They're so much fun. This is produced by Jillian Hochman, edited by Matthew Hendershot. Thank you to Jukebox the Ghost for the intro and outro music. And
I love Jukebox the Ghost.
Do you?
I love them.
Well, you will hear them when you listen to yourself now.
They played my wife in my, that's the song, one of their songs played my wife and I as the first couple into our wedding.
Really?
Yes, Fred Astaire.
Wow.
Yep.
I love the Off to the
Shout out
Races
to
album.
Jukebox the Ghost.
Yeah.
Love them.
I love those guys. Yes. Well, thank you, Jukebox. You have influenced everyone's life. And Alex Brightman, thank you for being here. This has been wonderful.
My man.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.